can do that. Do we have anyone who would like to take notes today?
I can
take some notes.
No, I don't want. I'm sorry. I over volunteer. No, actually, I'm sure you do it all the time. I'm taking this.
No, I haven't in a while, but you go for it. I'll get the next one.
Everyone wants to take notes for.
I actually like it. I don't mind it. I guess we could do status updates. I could go really quick. I've been working on a GitHub action to let us cut a release candidate. There was an earlier PR that was merged. This is just kind of adding a little bit of change in functionality to that. So take a look. I want to publicize the fact that we're planning to ship a release candidate for the next release on the mailing list. So I have that on my to-dos. And other than that, I think probably we'll have a discussion around this, but I think we're going to be shuffling some stuff for the 012 milestone, given the uncertainty that exists right now around Stackpacks. So we could probably put that on the agenda to discuss further, but that's all from my side.
I can go. It's a pretty quick update. I don't think I really have done anything this week besides review some PRs, kind of just talk Stackpacks and what we're going to do there. So I don't really have anything to add. I'll be on vacation for a long weekend, but I'll be back by this time next week. So.
I got nothing for y'all. If you're waiting for me, I got nothing.
Well, on my side, for the implementation stuff, I've been working with the registry validation issue. There are a couple of there is one PR in the image that Natalie took a look on it, and I did some fixes. It's there, and today I create this draft PR for the changes in the life cycle. I'm still working on it, but yeah, that's my day.
Awesome. You don't know the number off the top, right? I do, 642. Sorry.
Yeah.
If that is all for status updates, I guess we can move on to release planning. I can share my screen so that we can take a look at the milestone. I think this sort of bleeds into what I mentioned in my update. Share. You can see my screen? Which screen can you see? Can you see GitHub?
I see GitHub.
Okay. So let's take a look at the milestone. So as I mentioned, there's a fair amount of uncertainty around Stackpacks. If you haven't seen Stephen's RFC to remove the stack concept, please check it out. There's some good conversation happening there. But given the uncertainty that exists, I think some of the issues that we have in our milestone don't make sense, or at least before we double down on mix-ins, let's make sure we're, if we're going to have mix-ins. And so I think that they are these two, providing the analyzer providing mix-in information to the detector, and then the detector actually taking that information to validate if mix-ins are satisfied. This doesn't require Stackpacks, but it's just like for adding further functionality around mix-ins that that maybe wouldn't make sense if we're moving away from them. So I propose taking them out of the milestone and just kind of waiting to see what happens with that RFC, and we can always bring them back to a future milestone. That makes sense. So I'm going to clear the, can I do that? Can I just clear the milestone on these? Right. Okay. And then there's some question around validating the stack ID because we had added to the existing schema for stack toml, we had added the build image with its stack ID and mixins. And I think we want to remove that schema change. We had a conversation about like, we could still validate the stack ID if it's present in the environment. So CNV stack ID is required on the stack, that it might not be set if you're running in an untrusted builder situation where the analyzer is actually running in a lifecycle image. They won't have a stack ID, but I think we said if present, we could validate it, or we could just completely revert the commit that to the merge of Jesse's PR that added this stuff. I'm not sure if there's thoughts one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't have strong feelings here either way. Like, I think I'm all for reducing complexity always. So if we don't think that we would need that toggle change in the eventual future of whatever stack packs becomes, then I think I'm okay, like, yeah, pulling that back out and like waiting to see kind of how that shakes out before introducing something else we're going to have to maintain for the next X amount of versions.
So it's easier to revert your PR than it is to slice it up so that it only looks at the environment variable.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have any, if there's pieces of this we do want, then I can, maybe try to work on patching those back in when I get back. If there's pieces of it we want to keep, or, like I said, I can kind of take another look at it with the new definition of what we want to get into this release, or we can just hold off and revert it. And then in 012 or whatever, we can look at, or whatever the next milestone is. We can bring it back in, whatever you want to do. I'm fine with.
Why don't we revert it, and then we could add back pieces of it if we feel that that's, that would be valuable, just in the interest of like essentially being able to ship what we have.
Sounds great.
So I'm going to leave this in the milestone just so I remember to go and I don't know, what's our process for reverting it? I guess we have another PR to revert the merge.
Yeah, when you go to the PR, it should give you a big revert button, hopefully, and it's not going to be too bad. We'll see.
We'll give that a shot. I think, so as Juan mentioned in his update, this issue is being worked on actively, and I am working on this chore. So I think we're getting close to being able to ship this thing. The only thing I'll add is that actually before we ship, we need to also make a PR to the spec to like the pieces that we're taking out should be taken out of the spec as well. I don't know if somebody wants to own that. I think I know what needs to be done, but
yeah, if you don't get to it by next like Wednesday, I can take a look at it. So you can put it on my plate if you want.
Sounds good. I probably have a little bit of bandwidth this week, so I can take a stab at it. I guess with that said, just on the release, we already touched on this, but I want to ship a release candidate, maybe early next week, if it all aligns. Does that sound? I mean, it's all like pending, Juan's PR, and there's no fixed time here, but that would be rather than shipping, at the end of the week. We always like to ship early. So.
Sorry, so RCs aren't shipped. They're shipped manually, I guess, not like I don't know, just temporarily on some ongoing basis every week or something.
No, so we talked about nightlies, but that just organizationally kind of felt like a bigger headache, and we weren't sure of the value given that we aim to ship a complete implementation of an API. But the process for cutting an RC is very similar to the process for cutting a release. It's just, this is documented in the markdown file that we have, but it's essentially, it's the same process. You just make a release branch that includes an RC designation.
Okay, I did. Thanks.
Sorry.
I'm shutting up, please.
Ahead. Just a quick question, Stephen, since you're here, do you have a sense of whether the spec needs to be shipped before we ship a release candidate?
Of lifecycle?
Yeah.
Before we ship a release candidate of lifecycle. I don't know if there are any rules about release candidates, right? It's not a release. It's just a thing that we're putting out there for people to evaluate. So, if the spec, I think in an ideal world, the spec would go first before we make any functionality available through the channel of things that we imagine become lifecycle releases. But I would not think it's a hard rule for RCs. I would just note that this is a release candidate and it contains functionality that hasn't landed in the spec yet. The word release candidate versus like beta is also, for like a beta release, I think it would be especially okay, but a release candidate implies that this thing is about to go out. This thing literally could become a release. And so maybe there's a little bit of a stronger thing there, but no hard guidance. That's just my take. I think it's fine to do without it if you'd like to. Sorry if you're looking for a clear answer.
I can raise it in our Slack channel also, just to see if there's other opinions. I guess we've covered, I think, as well as we could have, unless anyone else has further comments about the next release, we could move on. I think we covered this in the notes. I don't think we have any new ones in the needs discussion. We covered this one last week. There's been some movement on that one, the keychain question, and the others relate to stack packs, so we should pause them until the other discussion has happened. RFCs, this is just to advertise what RFCs are pertaining to our team. I think the ones that are new and very interesting are these three that were mentioned in the working group that we just had, but just everyone, I don't know if there's anything we want to say here.
I don't think so. I mean, other than the one that's on the agenda, remove stacks.
Okay. And we don't have any other items on the agenda. I didn't add this here, but I know there's been various Slack conversations about how we might improve the organization of our code to make it easier to manage multiple platform and Buildpack APIs. And I think at one point we had suggested doing sort of a deep dive. I personally don't feel totally prepared. I do have this PR. I guess maybe this is just an advertisement for the PR that I opened, which is in draft. Maybe I should undraft it, although it's not complete. And this is on again, an issue that we've punted for now, right? The mix and validation, but this is like a proposal for how we might deal with some of the complexity by having a fronting interface. So I don't know, it's not very satisfying to go through and review a PR that we have no intention of merging, but I don't know, this is my one contribution to that ongoing conversation. So
Yeah, I think I took a look at it. It looked pretty good. Like, I think, you know, any steps towards you know, pushing stuff away from commands and, you know, into the business logic area that we like is going to be good for stack packs. It's going to be good for not K-Pack. What's the other one? Build kit. Yeah, build kit as well. Like, I think so. I like seeing all this stuff.
maybe we could, like, it'd be good. I don't know, maybe, like today, I personally don't feel prepared, but like at some point we should schedule, you know, a time to like really sit down and talk about what we would like to have. Maybe we could keep having the conversations in Slack, but yeah, have a real time one.
Yeah, async is hard on something like this, but I think, you know, it would be nice to get some like Zoom time with folks that are interested in, like, you know, spike out some ideas and like including the one you've got here, and just kind of like do a little bit of compare and contrast for like an hour or something. I'm just like, okay, just moving this one thing here, what's it going to do to the test? What's it going to do to the, you know, the maintenance, like, you know, all that sort of stuff. Like, how many things are we going to have to mock to set this up, or, you know, that sort of stuff.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I'm with you that, you know, it's hard to have the conversation asynchronously, right? But maybe having a meeting where we're sort of discussing this for the first time, right? Like, we're brainstorming, it might not be too effective. Maybe we, you know, if people have strong opinions, you can make, I don't know, personal PRs like Natalie did, not intending to merge it, but, you know, just at least having a proof of concept for the architecture that you have in mind. And then, you know, at least that can be reviewed before the meeting, right? I want to make the time that we are using, right, like when we do have to meet up, valuable, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I wonder if we could do like a, you know, pick one of the phases to kind of like push code away from the areas that are, you know, just like push a little code around in detector or something like that, right? And then like, and I could take a stab at doing it maybe, and then like if Natalie has opinions, she can do what she did here for detector, maybe maybe not do them all, so we kind of have an apples to apples comparison without, like, you know, asking too much of everyone's time, since it's just proof of concepts.
I like that idea. That's a good move.
I just add that at least to me, it seems like we might have a little bit of kind of breathing room. You know, once we should like kind of get what we've done sort of out there, while the dust settles around stack packs, you know, that might be like a perfect opportunity for us to kind of jump on this while we don't have, you know, features that are urgently needing to be worked on. So maybe we can make that, like, I don't know, if we, as we plan the next milestone, maybe that could be where we pull in, you know, Jesse, some of the issues that you opened, like general code refactoring and that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I'll put some time on mine to start working on just like a piece of this or something, so to be able to present and talk about it and compare.
We've covered everything. I had one more. I just remembered a meta item that I added last week, and you know, we had different participants in that conversation. So this is maybe a good time to just ask, how do people feel about the cadence of this meeting? Would it still be effective as a bi-weekly meeting? I personally feel that going through the milestone and you know, like that kind of stuff every single week is maybe not as valuable, because things don't change that often. And we're in a spirit right now of canceling as many meetings as we don't find totally valuable. So I made that proposition. I'm wondering what others think about it.
Again, I hope I'm not a major party here, but I would love you know, a longer cadence between meetings. All of these things. Being able to, especially being able to forcing people to talk about these things asynchronously would help my life a little bit easier.
+1.
Yeah, I think I agree. And also with what you just said, that maybe at some point after delivering these milestones and stuff, and maybe we will be thinking on what we are going to be working next, maybe at that time we can reevaluate if we need to do the meeting weekly again, because we have more things to do, more things that maybe change in a week. But right now in the state we are, I believe it's more helpful to, maybe bi-weekly having this meeting. I agree with that.
So we didn't hear from all of our usual participants. I know Yael is on vacation this week and Emily finds this meeting difficult to join, but I think we have enough so far unanimous agreement in making this bi-weekly that I think we should just proceed.
We have Stephen and Jesse. So.
Oh, sorry, Stephen had said, sorry, Stephen, I didn't mean to skip over you. I just remembered that you said from last time that you would prefer bi-weekly.
I said +1 to Andy's thing, so, or sorry, Anthony's thing, so, yeah.
Yep.
Either way, regardless of what everybody said, Natalie, you're the boss here. Like literally whatever you wanted is what we have to go with.
I think the only thing I was going to add is that Emily has mentioned that this particular time is bad for her. I'm wondering if we can, maybe we put out a doodle for people to sort of indicate what times really are optimal, and with the knowledge that it would be on a bi-weekly cadence, that might help us land on a better slot for everyone.
If we kept at this meeting and then a meeting 2 weeks from now, I'd only be able to make the first half every time anyways. So also be helpful. I'm trying to, I want to drop my platform maintainership and kind of get more involved here.
Sounds good. I will send out a doodle. So see everyone in 2 weeks then.
Awesome.
Then, sure. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you.